There is some stuff going on in the NFL. Can we just talk about this? And I ask you, do you love parity? Do you crave it where your team is not tanking? Your team has a chance every single year. As our friend John Skipper likes to say, at the end of every season, the league is going to be 500. We get that right, of course. In a league with parity, like in baseball, where we saw no teams win 100, the majority, if not all the teams, will have a 600 winning percentage or lower and a 400 winning percentage or greater. That's the band that you want in your league. The NFL has a problem. I don't know if you were watching the games and you were amortizing the cost of your YouTube TV $800 expenditure, but I was. And I couldn't believe the number of crappy teams. So Coca got to work. And he's got a stat for you. It is the first time this century right now, and we're in 2024, first time this century, and we're a quarter of a way done with the century, that 9 teams out of the 32 have 2 or fewer wins through week 9. Please marinate on that for a second. It's never happened. There are 9 teams that are so bad. The Raiders, just last night, they're one of the 2-win teams, fired their offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, their quarterback's coach. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be firing Antonio Pierce because he's obviously in over his head. The Raiders are a disaster. Tom Brady's going to needle him way right in there, take over football operations. Good luck, Antonio, keeping your job after this year. Remember, that's the team that Cliff Kingsbury was hired to be the coach of. And then he didn't get the deal, but it was leaked. But then they couldn't come to a money agreement. They settled on Antonio Pierce. They've got 2 wins. The Giants have 2 wins. They lost at home to the Commanders. Daniel Jones, while some people think he's taking a crappy team on his back and doing the best he can, like you can't win the Kentucky Derby with a bunch of donkeys. Guess what? Daniel Jones is one of those. I'm sorry, Sarah. But the fact is that if you're a Daniel Jones fan on the Giants, you better wear your jersey now because they have an opt-out after this year, and believe me, they're taking it. They recognize that they are not going to win with Daniel Jones and the type of contract he has. They'd only have like $22 million cap hit, dead cap hit. He's done. The Panthers have Bryce Young starting again. They stink. The Saints, Derek Carr. This is a cool one. Coca and I disagreed about this pre-show. What's your opinion of this? And you can get in the chat room and let Coca know. Is it cool to become the first quarterback, Derek Carr, in history to lose to all 31 teams? I think that's cool. That means that you've gotten the nod and you've played every team. It means you've been around. Coca seems to think that it's less than glorious. I think it's cool. The Cleveland Browns, I think Winston may have had the best week of any quarterback yesterday. Coca, wasn't his quarterback rating like 34? Something just unseemly incredible, which was sad because I want his quarterback rating to be a $134 to show that they can win without Watson, but with Winston, it turns out they may not be able to win with anybody. The Jaguars, terrible. I'm picturing Shad Khan going into his meeting today, day after. Hey, I'm telling you, man, he's like Woody Johnson. This is the best team we've ever put together in 25 years. We're good. Don't worry. Be happy. Give me $1 billion for a new stadium. The Dolphins have a problem. They were swept by the Bills. Tua's paid all that money. They're one of the teams that have 2 wins. Now they're scoring points with Tua, but it does no good if you're giving up more points than you're scoring. They're done. They're done. It's really hard for any of these teams to make the playoffs. None of these 9 teams will. But I'm thinking about Roger Goodell looking at the standings. Commissioners look at standings every day. It's strange. So do players, and so do front offices. No, we don't check the standings until after the All-Star break. Bunch of horse hockey. We're just worried about ourselves and getting better each week. Horse hockey. We don't think about playoff permutations. We are just thinking about our game plan for next week. That's triple horse hockey. So Roger Goodell's looking and he's saying, hey, man, how's our product doing? And then he picks up the phone and calls Adam Silver and says, how are you dealing with such a bad product? And Adam says, well, mine is way better than yours. Roger said, no, yours stinks. The NBA is a nightmare. Bunch of threes. That's all they're doing. Everyone's shooting 30%. Telling you, Roger, we're better than you are. No, Adam. So can you picture these commissioners in the suite at Yankee Stadium watching the World Series game, which you did see a picture of during the Stand Up to Cancer shot when you saw them standing there. You're thinking to yourself, it's all relative. You always want to be doing better, more sponsorships, more dollars, better expansion fees, better collective bargaining agreement, better franchise valuation. You always want to be getting better as it compares to the other big leagues in North America. That's what they're doing. There's no way Roger Goodell looks at this season and says we're having a great year. I don't think that's even possible. Forget the fact that a Monday night game got outrated by a World Series game, and forget the fact that numbers are actually down. I think you have to look at your league, and the key would be that you don't want that many teams away from the standard deviation of parity, which is after 9 weeks, 4-5 and 5-4. So you take as many teams you can in that band. If you even want to make it 6-3 and 3-6, you want to have as many teams as possible, if not all in that band. And it turns out that you're looking at 9 teams with 2 or fewer wins. It's really unheard of. Think about the whole tanking thing. Maybe they've succeeded at that, though. If you're going, is there a consensus first round pick in all of the drafts this year, Coca? I assume there's got to be. I don't really know who it would be. I guess could it be Cam Ward from Miami? He could be. Not really, though, but could be. Oh, Deion's son. Maybe he's a good quarterback. Can pay him $50 million at some point. Can you imagine if you're tanking because you want a new quarterback, and if you don't do it right, forget the number 1 pick, you could have the number 9 pick. That's how many bad teams there are. Normally, you're competing with like 3 terrible teams, and you're trying to tank 3 of you, and you fight it out,